Hi, I thought I'd give you a little demonstration of how subtle changes to an edit can make a big difference to how the audience perceives a scene. Let's have a look at just a little sequence from Stop Eject. This is the scene where Kate first starts using the tape recorder to view moments from her past. So this is the first cut that I produced, and when I showed it to my wife, one of the things that she said was, when we have this shot of Kate looking out of the alcove, you expect the next shot to be her point of view, what she sees, and instead it's this shot of the bike wheel. So when I did my next revision, I switched the shots around a bit, and this is the version I had. And I showed this to Sophie, one of the producers, and she said a similar thing. She said, well, when you see the shot of Kate looking out of the alcove, you expect the next shot to be her POV. And although this angle is similar to a POV, because Kate's here somewhere, it's not exactly one, because clearly it's craning up apart from anything else. So clearly the sequence still wasn't quite working. Also, once you've seen the bike in this wide shot, this wheel shot isn't really giving you any new information. Now, I was really keen to keep the wheel shot because it's part of the theme of circles that's in the movie, but I wasn't quite sure how best to do it. I had to play around with the shots in this sequence. One problem I had is that this craning up shot doesn't run for the whole scene. I actually decided to cut it at the point where the past Kate breaks in front of the little girl, and as a result you never see the other Kate walk into this shot. So I couldn't use this establishing wide shot at any later point in the scene. I had to get it in there quite early if I was going to use it at all, and I did want to use it because it sets up the geography of the scene. So I pondered it for a while, and the other thing that came up at one of the test screenings was some people didn't necessarily realise that the alcove that the tape recorder is in moves from location to location. So whenever Kate appears at some point in the past, the alcove appears with her. And I started to look at why are people not picking up on that. And I realised that this shot of her in the alcove is quite disconnected. I mean, obviously the alcove is here in this shot, but a lot of people weren't registering that because they were looking at another area of the frame. And then by the time you get to another shot where you see the alcove, A, it's in deep shadow, and you know, B, it's been quite a while since we saw that previous shot of Kate coming out of it. So this is the cut that I eventually arrived with, and this isn't by any means the final cut. I'm sure more work will be done on it, but here's what I have at the moment. So I've made a number of changes there. Let's just go through them. First of all, I've added in, I've cut back to this close-up as Kate presses play. This was another suggestion of my wife's, that it's really important that we establish how the tape recorder works. Make sure that everyone's really got it, that as she presses play, bam, this is an important moment and we're going into the past. So I put in this extra close-up. And then I cut to the wheel and then back to Kate in the alcove. And she's doing this reaction as if she's listening to something. I think actually she's reacting to the daylight coming in. But I've decided to play it now in the edit as if she's reacting to the sound of the bike wheel. So we're using this idea of the audio cassette recorder. It's the memories, the sonic memories that she's hearing that are sort of drawing her into the past. Okay, and this is new information now. We haven't seen the bike, so seeing the bike wheel, it sets up a bit of a mystery and it's new information. Then we cut back to Kate in the alcove, and you'll notice that she opens the curtain and we immediately cut to outside. So by not lingering on the shot of her looking through the curtain, we're not setting up this expectation in the audience's mind, as I was in previous cuts, that the next shot was going to be what she sees. So there's, without that build-up, we're not so expectant of seeing a POV next. And in fact, the next shot is her coming out of the alcove. Now I've done a couple of things here. One is I've done a match on action, so as she draws the curtain in this shot, it's matching with her continuing to draw the curtain in the alcove in the bandstand. So we're linking the two things together. We're trying to make it more obvious that the alcove is there in situ, so people really pick up on that point. And also, I've switched to a different take of this wide shot where the sun was in, so we've opened up the iris, and thus the alcove is in not such a deep shadow. It's more obvious, and we may even be able to brighten the alcove up in the grade to make it more obvious still. Then we cut to our jib shot, because basically we have to use it there. Otherwise it's going to be weird that the other Kate's not in the foreground. And you'll notice that this close-up of future Kate wasn't in earlier cuts of the scene, and that's something else we've put in to really cement her reaction to being in the past before we launch into the scene and focus more on past Kate and on Dan. So hopefully that's given you an idea in just a small sequence of shots of what a big difference quite minor changes can make.